You need to know how to change out the battery on your Invicta watch. A lot of places have problems because of the size of these watches. So let me show you how to do it. Okay, for a majority of the Invicta watches, you will need the spanner tool. I like the little poke tool, and it's got a pseudo flat edge on one side, and then the needle nose. So we start off by, and of course your new battery, which is the Sony 371 SR920SW. Now the spanner tool has an adjuster so that you can get that spacing for the back cover, like so. I just grab it firmly, making sure that the wrench is lining up in there, like that. Turn counterclockwise. Get a few rotations so it's sort of loose, and then from there you can turn it the rest of the way with a small screwdriver or whatever. Be careful at this point because there is this O-ring right here. It's just laying in a track. If it falls out, no big deal, but just make sure that it's in the track before putting the cover down. Now there is, and you might be able to just barely make it out here, right here down in the case, there is a little notch that plastic assembly is in. You want to start at the front where the knobs are and lift that out. Now there's the battery right there. What I like to do is I use the poker side of this, and making sure that you guys can see what I'm doing here. Lift up on the cover just a little bit, and there's a little hole right here. Get up and flip the battery up into that position. And if you just go right in behind it, and that's the old one out. Putting the new one in is just sliding this back under there like so. Kind of hard to do this without blocking it. After all, it's a fairly small battery, but just once that's pushed back down into place like so. Now with this guy, because of that, these tabs on this side, they go into the back or the side of the watch first. And then you have there's a couple of little pins that are part of the button to activate it. They're not spring loaded, they're just laying there. If you tilt it back down, they'll push up out of the way for you. And now that this plastic ring is back into place, my O-ring did shift. So just push it back into the groove that it sits in, like so. Just make sure that that's not in the way, so that when you put the back cover back on, it doesn't do any damage to it. Now just set this in place, and then I grab this guy. Being careful not to disturb the O-ring. Just want to make sure that I'm not disturbing that O-ring. got this is about as far as it wants to go now because I'm making contact with the O-ring, and then switch back to the spanner wrench. And because of the bands, you'll probably have to make a few smaller turns like I'm doing until it gets tight. Oops. And now that last little bit, just there we go. And voila, we are back in business. So now it's just a matter of setting it to the right date and time, depending on when you realize that the battery had gone dead. So I will leave a link to this easy watch toolkit. You can pick it up on Amazon for 23 bucks. Another thing I recommend, just because it was relatively cheap, is you can find these watch pin kits. If you ever have to take these pins out, some watch manufacturers put pins in there that are not captured. What does that mean? That means that the cylinder that has the spring and the two pins in it is not crimped in any way, so when you take it apart, you end up with pieces flying all over the place. Otherwise, I will, like I said, I'll have the link to the Easy Watch Kit down below. And if there's any questions or comments, please leave them down below.